Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today. It's time for a little Overreaction Monday. I'm Jamey. That's Heath. That's Chris. Before we get to that, though, a couple of news items to make you aware of. Matt Rule saying that Panthers wide receiver DJ Moore, who suffered a hamstring strain in the game on Sunday, is day-to-day. He was able to come back in the game, so we'll see how he does heading into a big game for the Panthers in Week 15. And we'll find out who the quarterback is. Matt Rule saying it's still a decision that they're going to have to make, whether it's Cam Newton or P.J. Walker. Also said that Sam Darnold's still a couple weeks away, so we'll find out what they decide to do there. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bruce Arians saying still not guaranteed that Antonio Brown will be back with the team. He said he has to make a decision moving forward once Brown's suspension is over. Also saying that Giovanni Bernard, who got hurt in the game yesterday against the Bills, is dealing with a groin strain that they're going to have an MRI on. And then for the Dolphins, as we told you, they have a few running backs in the COVID protocols, two in particular, Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed. They're actually working out Lamar Miller on Monday, so keep an eye on Phillip Lindsay once we talk about the waiver wire options on Tuesday. I'm sorry, Giovanni Bernard's dealing with a hip injury, not a groin injury. All right, so let's get to the overreaction, guys, for Monday. We'll start in Dallas, where Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, despite the Cowboys winning, did not play well. So, Heath, I'll give you the quarterback on this one. Do we have a Dak Prescott problem? He has not played to the levels that we've seen consistently throughout the course of the season. Some injured wide receivers have played a part in that, but did not look good against Washington.
No, and I think we have a Dak Prescott problem as much as we have a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes problem, in my opinion. I'm going to keep starting Dak Prescott. I'm going to feel very nervous about it in the fantasy playoffs, but I'm not going to start Taysom Hill against Tampa Bay over Dak Prescott, and I still think Taysom Hill is probably going to be the highest-ranked guy that isn't universally owned.
Okay, so we'll see where Dak comes out in the rankings and certainly how he comes out in terms of performance, but just not a very good game against the Washington football team. And the same thing for Ezekiel Elliott, Chris. It was a really frustrating situation to watch him struggle because Tony Pollard wasn't on the field, got 5 targets, only 1 catch in the game, did not run well. Corey Clement was the number 2 guy, at times looked better than Zeke, and we know Pollard's not ruled out for the rest of the season. So can you trust Ezekiel Elliott moving forward? They get the Giants in Week 15.
It was so frustrating. I really thought coming off a long week with extra time off, Ezekiel Elliott was going to play more or less, a classic Ezekiel Elliott role, and that just didn't happen. And part of it maybe was the fact that the Cowboys were up so big at halftime in this game, and it was only in the second half that Washington really came back. But yeah, 13 carries. Corey Clement had 12. Elliott did have 6 targets. He did play his normal 64% of the snaps, but that's actually not that encouraging because Corey Clement isn't Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is someone who needs to be on the field for a certain amount of the game. Corey Clement is not that guy. He's a journeyman. So the fact that Ezekiel Elliott more or less played the same role alongside Corey Clement as he has with Tony Pollard, I think is concerning moving forward. But that being said, it's still, 13 to 15 carries, 5+ targets most weeks in an offense that's going to produce or should produce a lot of points moving forward and some goal line opportunities. So it's going to be really hard to get away from him. But I had him as my number 6 running back this week, and it was really, really disappointing to watch.
I have a tough call first round of the playoffs next week where I have Javonte Williams, A.J. Dillon, Rashad Penny now, and Ezekiel Elliott. And I play 3 of them usually, with Zeke being one of the 3. I'm probably not playing him next week. Just can't trust him at this point with what those other guys seem to be doing and the matchups that they have. Just very tough to trust Ezekiel Elliott right now, especially if Tony Pollard does come back. Heath, let's stay in that same game. Antonio Gibson, 10 carries, 36 yards. There was no J.D. McKissick. We thought, okay, if they're chasing points, he's involved in the passing game. 2 catches for 5 yards. He fumbled and got pulled in this game. I don't know how much the score factored into it. They did get delayed interception to sort of make the score a little bit closer, but Antonio Gibson moving forward is what for you?
He's a number 2 running back, and I feel better about him than I do Ezekiel Elliott just because it's happened one game, and it's not happened in basically the last month. I do think it gets a little bit more dicey if J.D. McKissick's able to get back for this game, but I'm still likely going to be starting Gibson as a number 2 running back.
Yeah, just hope things get better, and again, the quarterback situation is going to matter as well. Taylor Heineke dealing with that knee injury, so we'll see if it's Heineke or Kyle Allen. We'll see if Terry McLaurin is out there as well for Washington, but they're going to face a Philadelphia defense that's going to be rested coming off their bye week, so maybe not the slam dunk that Antonio Gibson has been the couple weeks prior to facing the Cowboys in Week 14. All right, Chris, let's talk about the last scenario here with the Chiefs. Once again, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. We could take Patrick Mahomes off the list because at least he had multiple touchdowns and played a little bit better. But Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, if you were to say that the Chiefs scored 48 points, oh my gosh, Tyreek Hill did this, Travis Kelce did that. They did next to nothing once again. Confidence level in these two guys moving forward is what?
I will still probably rank Tyreek Hill as a top 5 wide receiver, and Travis Kelce, I can't imagine he's going to be any lower than, maybe no lower than number 2, maybe no lower than number 1. This was a weird game. They only threw the ball 24 times. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce both played very little in the second half. I think Hill was less than 50% of the snaps, and Kelce was just over 50% in the second half. So this game was kind of done by halftime. I don't know how much you can take away from a game that was just this lopsided from the very start. That being said, like you said, if they were going to score 48 points and they were going to go up big at halftime, you would think that it would be because Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce had big games. I think that it's just tied to the overall problems that the Chiefs offense is having. Patrick Mahomes is under 6.5 yards per pass attempt since week 7. And so this just hasn't been a very good offense, but Kelce and Hill are still getting a ton of targets. I can't go away from them given their potential.
Totally get that. And, again, when we talk about Tyreek Hill, you're not benching him in a 2-receiver league. You're certainly not benching him in a 3-receiver league. And Travis Kelce, most likely not benching him. I haven't done my wide receiver rankings yet, but Kelce's 4th for me this week. I mean, Kittle, the way he's playing right now, it's hard to argue he's not better. Mark Andrews, from what we've seen, they've been almost neck and neck the majority of the season, might be in a better spot. Rob Gronkowski has been, for the most part, on par with them, right, playing a little bit better. I mean, it's, again, nobody's benching Travis Kelce, but, you just have some decisions that Gronk might be the only one, but it's just frustrating, man. It really is. It's, 11 combined PPR points the last 2 weeks for Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill's really been not getting the job done. But again, you're not sitting them Thursday night in a primetime game against the Chargers. All right, there's Overreaction Monday for you, Chris. Thanks for joining us as always on Fantasy Football Today.